Hey there, Z Nation fans! We are back, and oh, it is so good to be reunited. Guys, there's so much to talk about for the beginning of Season 4, Episode 1, Warren's Dream. We've got a lot to cover, and we have a very special guest calling in, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
Is this the first time we've actually opened up with this song for this show?
I feel like it isn't.
I think we've done it at least once before.
But when they quote it in the episode, we're obligated.
I mean, a show about the zombie apocalypse, I feel like we have to talk about this song at least once, right?
It's a sin not to.
Yes.
I concur with that assessment. Hey there, Z Nation fans! Welcome back. It has been way too long since we have heard from all of y'all. And yeah, I think I speak for everybody when I say we're super excited to be talking about Season 4, Episode 1, Warren's Dream. Let's not waste any time. Let me introduce my fantastic panel. On the far end, there's the lovely Michelle Cullen.
Hello, everyone. Long time no talking. Missed you.
Where can they follow you?
You can follow me on the Twitter sphere at Michelle_Cullen.
It has been a while, hasn't
It
it?
has been. I almost forgot my handle.
And to her left is the lovely Katie Cullen.
Hi, all my buddies. You can follow me all over the social medias at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet.
And I'm your host, Megan Salinas. You guys can follow me on Twitter at @themenguin. That's TheMenguin. We also have a hashtag ABTVZNation for those of you guys watching live. So if you guys have any fun comments, feel free to put them in the hashtag. And we've got you pulled up on the live chat as well for everybody watching live on our new YouTube channel, which is the AfterBuzz SyFy Fantasy. And is it superheroes?
Yes.
Yes, I got it. Before we get started, as always, guys, if you have any comments on iTunes, definitely that is the best way to let our producers know that you guys like the show that we're putting on. We'll do. I don't know if we have any over the break. We'll probably do a shout out towards the end of the show as just a reminder, real quick. But yeah, if you haven't already done so, go to iTunes, rate, subscribe, leave a comment, and we have a quick live read for you guys as well. Pardon me, I have to get into my proper announcing voice, which is a newscaster from the 40s. Support for this podcast comes from the astonishing new television series Marvel's Inhumans. On the dark side of the moon, there exists a civilization unlike anything you've ever seen before. People with extraordinary powers and abilities that make them more than human. They are inhuman. Meet Black Bolt, the king. The sound of his voice can destroy a city. Medusa, the queen, whose hair is a living weapon. And Lockjaw, the giant bulldog who teleports the royals from planet to planet. But now, treachery in the form of Black Bolt's evil brother Maximus threatens the royal family and their kingdom. The royals have been forced to escape to their true home, Earth, where the real fight for their future has just begun. Join in this epic family drama as two brothers battle to claim one throne. Marvel's Inhumans, new episodes Friday, 9/8 Central on ABC.
Lockjaw is the best character.
Lockjaw
is amazing.
I don't know if any of our viewers for this show happen to watch the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast, but we've been talking about Inhumans for a long time because they were initially introduced on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and so personally I'm really excited to see where the Inhumans show goes.
It should be good. Also, I want to listen to you tell stories in that voice.
Oh my God!
All
Yes.
the
Can
time.
you do every live read ever?
So good.
That was beautiful.
Can we just have a podcast of Megan in that voice telling stories, please?
Only if we can do weird voices also, and she can interview us.
We'll be the weird. We'll fill in
Voice
the stories.
Sounds good. Thank you. Our engineer is also telling me well done, so thank you guys. Anyway, guys, we do have a special guest calling in, but in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and just talk about this episode because it has been a while.
I wasn't expecting a time skip. Just
Yeah.
generally speaking, I was not expecting a time skip.
I mean, there's been some press on it, but I'll be honest, when it comes to a lot of the shows we cover for AfterBuzz, I tend to stick my head purposely in the sand because I'm like, la 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 la, do not tell me I want to be surprised. But it's also hard not to.
I wind up with, you should book this person for this episode. And I sit there and go, oh God, what does that mean?
Well, on Instagram, it's, it's hard to stay unspoiled for certain things, following a lot of the cast on Instagram, and a lot of the costume designers and things like that too, because we're getting like updated things. But yeah, as far as a 2-year time skip, I was real surprised.
No idea.
But also that kind of makes sense too, because this is also the same show that launched a bunch of nuclear weapons
At the end of season 1.
At the end of season 1, and just sort of fixed it at the beginning of season 2.
I feel like Z Nation is the kind of show where there are a lot of shows when they know they're not doing well that end with a cliffhanger in a desperate bid to get another season, and often don't. Z Nation just ends with a cliffhanger because they're like, you know what? If we get a season, great. And if we don't get a season, suffer.
We do what we want!
Pretty much. You kind of get used to the idea at the end of season 1, like, oh, this is now a nuclear apocalypse. How are they going to get out of this?
What a twist!
What a twist! What a twist!
So
I love it.
AfterBuzz TV put up a poll a little earlier, before we got started on the show, asking which character after the 2-year time skip had the best look. And I wanted to go across the table, starting with you, Michelle. Who do you think had the best look after 2 years?
Oh gosh, that's really tough. I'm going to have to say Murphy. 'Cause what?
He cleaned up real good.
He was a translucent ghost with a blue eye patch, and now he's just dandy. He's dandy Murphy.
He's doing a lot better.
He looks like a soccer mom. Like a really high-class soccer mom.
We always
Tell me I'm wrong.
We always put notes on the board before we start, and I put Stepford Murphy.
He is
because
Stepford Murphy.
It looks a little. I mean, all of Zona is like a
man.
little Stepford-ish.
The dude is wearing a vest and a tie. Like, come on.
It's like looking at him now. I'm like, you were a criminal before the apocalypse happened. This
He was
isn't
a
for
petty
you.
criminal,
I was going to say,
though.
wasn't it mail fraud?
Yeah.
We established that it was an embarrassing
But
crime.
we're introduced to him in a jumpsuit, though.
That's true.
How about you, Katie? Who do you
Addie.
think? Yep.
She always has the best look. This hasn't changed.
Yep. I would have to agree with that assessment. I thought Addie's new look was post-apocalyptic chic. Even the eye patch, yeah, for sure. Although, not for nothing, 10K's looking pretty good. Like, I feel like his
Those
jaw
mutton
is getting a
chops
little bit more...
weirded me out. Like, I could not get past the mutton chops. Like, what are you
I think
doing?
he's looking more mature because that young boy is growing up. And I just think that's adorable.
That's just dandy.
It's just dandy.
Yes, it is.
It is kind of weird seeing Red without her kind of titular red hood.
Yeah.
She's still got a scarf going on, though, doesn't
A
she?
little bit, yeah. There's still a little bit of like pop to it, but it's
Yeah.
not the full-on Little Red Riding Hood sort of look.
No, now
anymore.
she's kind of 90s grunge in the
a
apocalypse.
little bit. But yeah, with actually for Attack on Titan fans, with the Mikasa scarf.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, I love that. So let's talk about Zona a little bit, because when we start this episode off, we're introduced to a Sarah Connor-esque dream, for which the episode is named Warren's Dream. And it looks like straight up nuclear annihilation. And when she actually wakes up from her coma, she's in this very sterile compound, a la like Alien Resurrection or whatever. And then when she actually comes face to face with Murphy again, it looks like Zona's this pretty actually cool and chill place to hang out during the apocalypse. Anybody waiting for the shoe to drop?
Oh, I got two things to say about that. One, the fact that Murphy made the joke about it. You know, it's the rest of humanity, or at least the 0.001 rich white percent. Like, yep, thank you.
That's an issue.
That is absolutely who it is. And two, she's in a coma. They put her in white underwear and give her a pedicure and 3-inch heels. Like, what the hell is Zona doing? That's creepy.
She's not even in a hospital gown. Like,
No.
they took the time to give her a pedicure.
And white is so hard to keep clean, and that was pristine. Like, this is creepy
And
stuff.
if you're gonna be pampered, like that keeps constant maintenance because your fingernails keep growing. So that means that they recently gave her a pedicure and then put her back into the bag that she
and
was
recently
in.
changed
she's
her outfit
She
too.
gotta cook. She gotta simmer to get better.
I haven't seen someone
She's
that
gotta marinate.
I haven't seen someone that pristine and white come out of a plastic tube since Tron Legacy, okay?
Kalina looked good though, and
She
in
did.
my head
Damn
I was
girl.
like, she's probably really happy with her entire wardrobe for this.
Yes.
For this episode,
I mean,
there's no dirt,
this
there's
in-
no falling.
This entire episode, yeah, is like she's in a normal, she's in like a normal soundstage. Because we, not to brag or anything, guys, but we've seen a lot of the locations where they actually shoot, and yeah, it is a lot of dirt, a lot of grime, a lot of running around, and this looked like a soundstage.
Well, I'm sure some of it's for soundstage, but I'm also pretty sure that some of it was actual neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think they were filming in Oregon for parts of this.
Yeah, I think so.
Which the sunny parts were the soundstage, obviously.
And I don't know if you guys would pick up on this or if
Oregon.
any fans picked up on this, but when they did the close-up on the shoes, I had the moment of like, oh, the Kim Kardashian boots have made their way into C Nation. Because there was that whole thing where she wore those clear plastic Kanye boots and it shows off the sweat and everything, and that's what was... Anyway.
Let's just say that the fact that like the Zona doctors took time to give her footwear and like fancy footwear.
And a pedicure and kind of the futuristic underwear outfit. Like, it wasn't sexy, it was future utilitarian.
And we'll get into this when we talk about more of the residents of Zona, but I feel like the scientists in particular are into some weird stuff. So
I mean, that scientist at the end of the table was the only guy that didn't get splattered by the cake mishap.
with the Andy Warhol glasses, I don't like that guy.
He's a creeper.
I love him in the sense that I'm terrified by him.
You're like, you haven't said a word, and I find that real
Like,
unsettling.
not to jump ahead, but how he claps like this with pure rage on his face.
You intrigue me. I think I'm gonna die.
Don't want to meet you, but I like looking at you from a distance, kind of like a zoo.
Now, talking...
Well, what do you
That's
think
okay.
Zona is?
It's a zoo.
Zuna.
I mean, maybe.
That's why you keep me.
I mean, not for
I know
nothing.
it was bad. That's why you
But,
keep me.
but I mean, obviously we know not everything's on the up and up in this. Maybe it is. Maybe it is just kind of like a human menagerie. I don't. Ugh.
Oh, creepy.
We'll get into.
They
Don't
talked
say
about
that.
bringing Warren into the gene pool.
yeah, gross. Super
Well, they
gross.
only got like 400 people there. That's not a very diverse gene pool.
I do want to present this question for speculation purposes. We see Murphy, and it looks like he has been fully restored, and supposedly that his cure worked. Do we think that that's 100% true, or are we going to see some awful, horrible turn partway through the season regarding his everything?
Oh, I'm expecting a turn. There's always a turn.
I have a crazy theory. I'm going to save it for the end.
Save it for predictions?
Yep.
Could it be
All right,
bunnies?
cool. But we one of the questions that we're sort of left with at this episode is that like Murphy had like a whole camp of people who were following him, and
He's kind
who were
of
under
their-
his mind control, and we don't really hear a word about them this entire episode.
Because it was 2 years later.
True. That's very true. They probably just got left in the apocalypse somewhere. If they
Sorry,
didn't
guys.
die, they're just out there.
Because it's like the healing time is twice as long as they were together. So they were together like 8 months. So yeah, that's plenty of time to heal, according to breakup rules in Cosmo.
It's, yeah, half the
You
time that you
brought
were
up
together.
something while we were watching it the other night that Murphy was able to control people who got that vaccine. So what does that say about Zona?
Well, what it says specifically about the founder, who was the first test in terms of like he was the first attempted source for the cure, which is what made that dinner scene so creepy and unsettling when he started clapping, because it was like, is he doing that just because he's the founder and they all have to follow suit, or is this a straight up like Murphy mind control moment that we're seeing here?
Either way, it went on for way too long.
It was awkward. It was awkward.
Now,
not.
messed up.
Speaking of the founder, I kind of love when we're introduced to him because he is played by horror icon Michael Berryman, who anybody who knows anything about horror will recognize him. He is a fun character actor that pops up in a lot of things, probably most famous for his role in The Hills Have Eyes. So I was delighted to see him. I was like, oh, look at that! I know him!
He's being really creepy.
Good job, you. So yeah, I was really excited when I saw him. That made me happy.
I enjoyed. Wasn't this the second time we've seen a breathing apparatus that was a skull? I had that in my mind,
What
but I
was
didn't
the
go back.
first time?
I don't
Or was
know
it-
that it's the
or was it-
breathing apparatus, but I know that we saw a ton of skull stuff with
Oh yeah,
Los Muertes. Who was the gang?
Los Muertes.
Was it Los Muertes?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Really on top of this. It was them.
It's been a while.
Because his stick, the man's stick in there had the skull on it. I feel like I
Yeah.
thought I saw.
I'm pretty sure
mixing up
there's
things,
a
I'm sure.
lot of death iconography in this
Again,
show. Like
zombie
we've seen,
apocalypse.
Yeah.
Kind of par for the course.
Yeah.
I will say though that like that cake looked real good. Is that wrong? That like
I'm not sure I would eat anything with a face.
really not even for Halloween you wouldn't have a zombie
If
cake.
you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse and then someone's like, I heard you like chocolate and killing zombies, so I made you a cake with a filling meant to resemble
mean,
blood and brains. Please take this large knife and cut it up. Like, no, there is a time and a
mean,
place.
it
A
wasn't-
Halloween party
it
is a
wasn't
time
very
and place.
tactful.
The zombie apocalypse is not, and that wasn't a very attractive looking face. Come on, that is a cake Rex cake.
I am just saying
That is not a professional.
that it is officially October 2nd. I'm ready for all the Halloween decorations and goodies. I saw some of my coworkers putting up Halloween decorations today and it made me very happy.
You didn't put your Halloween machine on your desk?
I did.
Good.
I've had that up for like a week now.
A week.
They make Halloween pashins, you guys. They are adorable.
They are. But yeah, I'm in the mood for zombie cake. That's all I'm saying.
It
Well,
was.
yeah, but this was not the time and place for it.
Well, they've been removed from zombies for a long time, so they're
They're a little tone deaf.
it's not too soon
true.
for them. It's
and
not
they're like, you've been here for 2 years. Like, let's have a party.
And she's been having these horrifying nightmares and
Sure.
is still very much PTSD.
It's only been like, I don't know, 2 hours for you.
I think it's a little more than that. I feel like we had the better half of the day before the world's worst dinner party.
I mean, it's kind of hard
No,
to
the
tell.
world's worst dinner party was the cannibals in season 1.
Yeah.
The world's second worst dinner
the second
party.
worst.
I don't know. Maybe this one falls under the category of most awkward.
I will say, the way that the cake splattered on everyone except for Creepy Doctor Man.
I know, right?
And the founder, and just a tiny, tiny bit on Murphy's face, not his snazzy suit, and none on Warren. I just need to know how she chopped at that. I don't know how
Cake
none.
for you, cake for
I
you,
don't
cake
know
for
how
you.
how none got on her.
When you've been killing zombies for as long as she has, it
You
just
learn
sort
to
of-
pull the knife away.
You learn to
That
get the
was happening.
splatter everywhere. Swish and flick.
Swish and flick. But I do love seeing this very vulnerable side of Warren, because even though we know for a fact, like, this is a utopia in the zombie apocalypse, yeah, no, those don't exist. Every time we see those, anytime we see a place that is supposed to be safe, you know by the end of a couple episodes from now, it's going to be overrun with Z's. And here, we know that things at Zona are not necessarily as they appear. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been super built up as this evil, menacing place leading up to this point anyway. But even that aside, just seeing Warren kind of being unable to cope with the concept of normalcy again is something that is really interesting for her character.
I mean, she's been in the apocalypse for, it would have been for her 6 years. And because they're like, oh, it's been 8 years since day one, so that's including the time skip. So
Thursdays? You keep track of Thursdays?
Yeah. So she's been doing this and surviving in this and going through multiple flavors of hell for 6 years. And then, sure, get used to this in 3 hours. No, she's still going to be in survival mode. You don't suddenly wake up in paradise after getting shot by a UFO. God, this is a weird show.
Yeah. Well,
And immediately become accustomed to it. You think that this is a trap. You think that there's an issue. Something's going to happen.
well, and the other thing is the way that the men are talking is, we must keep you in the gene pool. You'll be perfect for the reset. Stop objectifying my girl, first of all. And
Yeah.
do not assume that you can enter I'm just saying.
Yeah, that you're making a lot of
Consent.
presumptions. And also, what was that? A better reset? What?
That's a little.
Yeah, the reset must happen. We must do the reset. I'm like, and genocide.
I froze in on the poster the second time watching it to try to see what it was, and it's just 3 people staring up, and I was like, that's ominous. It's just, one is in a bright white tie.
Not a fan.
And he's just...
Not a fan. Now, anytime you get like a group where everything's like, ooh, yay, everything's wonderful, and soon the world will be anew, it's like, this is a cult. I gotta go.
It's very Stepford. You were right about that.
It's very Stepford, and also, yeah, I feel like any moment now, yeah, they're gonna bring out the fruit punch to go with the cake, and they're gonna ask everyone to drink the fruit punch. I'm not a fan of that. No, thank you.
For fruit punch.
I do not. No, opposite of that. But yeah, so kind of to sort of wrap up the sort of stuff that we get. I love seeing that vulnerable side of Warren, particularly because living in the apocalypse takes a toll on you, and she became so single-minded towards the ends of last season that it was nice to see that humanity come back, like even in the form of vulnerability. And we know she's going to get back on top of it, but to sort of wrap up the Zona stuff, who do we get introduced to towards... Oh!
Yeah.
Hey there! Hello!
Hi, Katie. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Has Karl called in?
No, we're gonna do that a different week.
Oh, are you sure? Are you sure? I talked to him. I was like, I thought maybe he was gonna call in.
Nope, not this week.
Not this week, but we're happy to say that joining us live on the air is Abram Cox, the director of this episode.
Yay!
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm live.
Yes!
Surprise!
Wow. Okay.
Sorry to put
No
you on the
swearing
spot.
on this conversation.
A little bit of swearing. We keep it at the level of the show.
Exactly. I like that. That was all in sync. Hi, guys.
We've said it a lot.
It's good chatting with you again. How have you been?
I'm doing really well. I literally just got off of shooting. We're in the midst of shooting the finale for Z Nation season 4 right now. So I got off work and had a little food, and at this point, just giving you guys a shout out.
Well, thank you for joining us.
So much.
Much appreciated. So we were just talking about, it's good to be back for season 4. How is it returning for this season? Because right off the bat, aesthetically speaking, the show has a very different look to it.
Well, it's actually I got to give credit to Karl in that one. He had this idea about saying, "Hey, look, let's literally go 2 years into the future, and and basically everything's gotten a lot more terrible in the apocalypse, and we're gonna show people what they've been wondering this whole Zona experience is, and where that's going and what that leads to, and that's kind of what you get a taste of in episode 1. And then episode 2, without giving anything away, continues the story and raises some really interesting questions that episode 3 will then sort of even up the ante on even more. And where it all goes is a downward spiral into just how insane this post-apocalyptic landscape has gotten. So it's really funny. It's like it's funny, but in a way that's I think not to be political or anything of that nature, but it's funny in a way that is truly satirical of a mirror to society. So you could say of what we're seeing in today's world, where just like Alice in Wonderland, up is down and down is up.
Yep.
That is truth.
You know, I'm glad that you say that's sort of the direction that this season is taking, because that's what zombie fiction has always done. It's always been a sort of dark mirror for society of like, hey guys, this is a bit of social commentary we're gonna drop on you in the context of the dead coming back to life. So I'm real excited that Z Nation's gonna tackle all that.
I feel like Z Nation's the kind of social commentary where they picked up a folding chair, WWE style, and have just been beating it over the head. I love it, though.
It's totally true. It's totally true. And it, you know, hey, it is a good comparison to WWE, especially as like, you know, you definitely get that WrestleMania wrestle off amongst all the different crazy characters. So.
For sure. We were just talking about how creepy a lot of the Zona characters that we're introduced to in this episode seem just right off the bat. Like, oh yeah, that's unsettling. Not a fan.
Like, we have the Stepford everyone's, and then we have Judge Doom at the end of the table there, and
the founder, and then the guy in the Andy Warhol glasses who
that's Judge Doom.
That's his name?
No, that's who I'm calling Judge Doom.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure we didn't get a name drop.
And when I killed the zombies, I sounded just like this.
Nice.
I think I just murdered the audio levels. I'm sorry.
Just went right up there.
Yep.
But yeah, we're when you guys were sitting down talking about what Zona would actually look like, because it's had a lot of build up over the last 2 seasons. What sort of world did you want to present when you guys were in the conceptual stages?
Well, you know, I would say the world that, you know, was mentioned to us was basically like really, I'm trying to verbalize where you could say this thing was going. It was really saying who would be the real survivors, you know. Hold on one second. I do have a very special guest I think that we could get for you guys.
Oh,
Hold on.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah, you guys rap for 30 seconds. I'm going to bring somebody into this phone call. Don't hang up on me. I'm going to tie somebody in.
All right, cool.
Fascinating.
I think he meant rap with a W, but I'm going with it.
Gosh, no. We need Citizen Z's girlfriend to rap for us.
God, yes,
for sure.
I have a baby.
Yeah.
It's been 2
At this
years.
point, they would have like a, God, I want to say like 16 months.
What is a normal aging baby in this show?
That's
does that look like?
Let's not look at Lucy for the answer there.
But let's look
She's
at Lucy for now.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Addie's new look, Lucy's definitely got a new look.
Yeah.
How does she keep curls in the apocalypse?
That's played her?
I think
Yeah, more than that.
But yeah, I'm loving the look. I love their sassy walk.
So, ladies,
yeah.
Hey there.
I'm back. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm back. I have a very special guest for you. And you just asked the question, where did the concept of what the initial kernel of where this world was going to go in season 4 come from? I think we should just hear it right from the horse's mouth. Karl Schaefer, the creator of the show.
Hey, Carl.
That's funny.
Carl.
I didn't know I was the horse's mouth. I suppose that's better than being the horse's ass.
Thank you
hi,
for
guys.
making that
How's it
joke so
going?
I didn't have to.
Good. How are you guys holding up?
Good. We're, finishing up the last couple of episodes here, shooting the final one, and I just locked a picture on episode 11, so
Nice.
All
it's
right.
going great. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Fantastic.
And it's not an oncoming train.
In the show or for you? This is a really
So,
important question
well,
to me.
both.
So Carl, they're wondering where your conception for the seeds of season 4's world came from. They were talking about how this season is much different than any season before it, and I
Well,
figured
I think
that.
it was a sharp blow to the head in an auto accident. No, well, I know we really wanted to reset the show, and there was a lot of, I think everybody felt like they liked seeing the characters all together on a single mission more. And gosh, I don't, I think some of it came out of conversations I had with Kalita about dreams and, being on a mission and things, the subconscious and how we're driven by our subconscious. And also some of it just came about organically, in the room when we got our writing staff together and just kind of laid out the most basic outline of the season and then, started filling in the pieces. And then backfilling it so it seems like we knew this was coming the whole time.
This was absolutely the plan. How did you not see it coming?
I do want to ask both of you about sort of the shift in dynamic for Murphy and Warren's relationship, because they've been combative against one another basically from the very start.
From the get-go,
From the start. And it's kind of interesting to see them kind of allow that sort of intimacy that, we've always known that even though they fight, they have this mutual respect for one another. And now that they're in this same place together, kind of a lot of what they were fighting about was gone.
Well, and I think they bonded some over Lucy and rescuing Lucy. And also, Murphy is now semi-cured. I won't say he's completely cured because we'll see what's going to happen to him as the season goes on. But, which sort of changes his attitude somewhat and makes him a little more of a human being. And maybe he's just grown with the experience, The apocalypse is sort of a life-expanding experience for people. We learn and grow in the apocalypse.
And then we die.
Yeah, mostly that. Mostly that, I'd say, actually.
A lot of dying.
Well, it's also Murphy. I think Murphy is a guy who, he finds himself, especially in episode 1, in the lap of luxury, and it just doesn't get much better than that for somebody like him. And the question is is he going to be able to have that for the rest of the season?
Of course not.
Well, just how long can he stay on good behavior? He's before he backslides into his old ways.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can only be Stepford for so long without actually drinking the Kool-Aid.
I don't know. I think he looked like he had adjusted pretty well to it. He has tennis dates, and
eventually he'd go nuts.
Yeah, that's true. Eventually he'd get really bored, especially if there was nobody. Yeah, and nobody like Warren to sort of keep him in line.
Well, and everyone's just like, oh, Mr. Murphy, oh this, oh that. And it's like, where's the challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. I mean, that's why he probably committed mail fraud in the first place.
So.
Wait, what?
He loves the casual sex.
That's true. Right. The foursome
that keeps him focused.
How excited was Keith
some
about?
Of it was just trying to. I mean, I think. What's that?
Oh, I was just gonna ask, how excited was Keith about his new makeup look?
None.
Well, he was excited not to spend 4 hours a day in the makeup chair.
It's Lucy's job now.
Although he he kind of missed the way he looked in the blue. He did look awesome.
He did.
With blue skin.
Yeah.
It's
and we may not be done with his tint yet, so.
We shall see.
Like I said, it's Lucy's job to be in the chair now.
Yeah, he might have a relapse. Who even knows? But yeah, it was one of those things where the second we see him without the makeup, I was just like, is Warren still dreaming? It's been so long since we've seen him on camera without the makeup.
Well, that's sort of what we want people doing this season, is constantly asking questions. Like, wait, what's happening now? Things are changing. Because we're all about things, the unexpected, I think, is our kind of our hallmark. So,
Well,
it's totally true, and you're in for hopefully this doesn't say too much, but you're definitely in for a ride that is it's a roller coaster this season, 100%.
Isn't it always though?
when has it not been a roller coaster?
It's always a roller coaster, true, but I can definitely from my standpoint, Karl, you tell me if you feel how you feel, but this season is definitely a crazy roller coaster. When it says things got worse, it's not joking.
Oh yeah, no, it's a crazy roller coaster with a bunch of bolts missing on it. So to keep it really interesting.
I will say that one of the things I enjoyed was the callback to the zombie tumbleweed, and it was bigger. Yeah.
Yes, the zombie ball.
Yep.
I was so happy about that.
That was a lot of fun. So actually, kind of expanding. One thing though, again, just kind of what kept me going. This is definitely going to be a season of a lot of questions. Was during Warren's dream, seeing the giant stingray flying through the sky. I had many a question about that.
Pancakes.
But I'm not sure you guys can answer those, so we can definitely move on.
I noticed that a lot of what she was dreaming of corresponded to stuff that was happening or was going to happen in real life, and she was in front of a control panel when the stingray comes by. Yeah, no, that's the flying thing that shot her last season, and dollars to donuts, that control panel is in charge of it somehow.
Ooh.
Maybe. Interesting theory.
Should I give you a minute to get popcorn while you listen to this? Just sit there eating popcorn, grinning, and listening.
Foolish fools. Kind of talking about getting out of Zona for a moment and kind of looking at the rest of the group. Which set of characters were you guys most excited to explore sort of what they've been up to during the interim, during the 2-year time period that we've skipped?
Well, I think besides Murphy and Warren, I think, seeing what Doc and 10K were up to, certainly, and 10K and Red, I think it was, a lot of it's about just seeing our gang back in the saddle again, with a new mission. And when they're not sure just how it's going to go or what exactly even the mission is.
We're going to New America, which is not insurance.
Right.
Yeah, how do we spell that? Is that N-E-W?
N-E-W.
It is N-E-W. Okay, yep.
Okay.
New America.
I'll fix my notes.
New-America.
But sorry, Abram, what were you going to say?
No, I was about to say, the fact that, Numerica is in Canada is just funny to me. So.
It's a lovely country.
Well, we like taking over territory, so.
Well, it's really a lot of fun to see how, the data of Z Nation and its characters applies to a pretty wide demographic, in the sense that it is social commentary. There's a lot of reflected surfaces going on in the show that may be hilarious to people, but you dig underneath and it shows a lot of the kind of topsy-turvy world that we see today. And that's what makes it fun, is it allows you to sort of poke fun and laugh at your own situation, even when your own situation is a hard situation. So, there's the quote-unquote freedom of the apocalypse versus the barcode oppression of paradise in Zona. And you can kind of see how some of the new characters are the ones that sort of raise the biggest eyebrow outside of our main squeezes, such as Henry Rollins' character Mueller.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy. The Marine that likes to hug people.
I need a hug.
That was perfect.
Awesome.
Seeing Henry Rollins do that character, I was just like, what is happening? I'm so excited.
I'm pretty sure the woman he hugged was thinking the same thing, but also just like, human contact! Ah!
But you really do need human contact. Like, there are very few people that can survive without it.
Yeah, and he literally said that
almost. Actually, it's a condition.
Yeah.
Yep.
Skin hunger.
What's it called?
It's called skin hunger. Yeah. Skin hunger.
What a great word.
Sounds like a horror movie, but
doesn't
not
sound
a
like
horror
something you
movie.
want to have in the zombie apocalypse either.
I got the skin hunger real bad.
I got the skin.
Okay.
No, I don't have skin hunger. I don't have skin hunger.
But yeah, it was really funny. I wish you guys could watch with us on occasion because while we were watching it and he's hugging this woman, she hugs him back. Katie's going, well, actually, yes, that's a psychological condition, and human contact's really important. And literally 2 seconds later, he goes, human contact is really important.
I have a font of worthless information.
So that was delightful to say the least.
That's the real purpose of Z Nation, is to create like subliminal PSAs so that you can educate the youth.
Right? No, it's the most violent show about empathy on the air. So.
Oh, that's so true.
No, we just soften up your psyche with like violence and grossness, and then slip you in a PSA, about how it's good to be nice to people.
We've had a lot of
when you
fun
can.
here. We've had a lot of fun here killing zombies today.
Oh, we've got
remember, guys,
on the soundbar.
That problem would be gone forever.
Let's just hug the zombies. That's all they need.
Well, talking about the zombies, the thing this
Warm
show
bodies. That's what that was.
one of the things that you guys, and we've talked to you guys on numerous occasions about this before, is the subject of the zombies themselves and how you guys always like to keep things interesting with both the looks and types of zombies that we see within this wasteland. But something that very, very, I think I want to say almost no zombie media really does, because it's very much a staple of the genre, is that headshots kill zombies. And as we see in that brief hand twitch in this episode and in the preview for the next episode, that's not necessarily the case anymore. Was that just you guys going, hey, you know what would be great for like removing all hope from the situation? Headshots don't work anymore.
These are zombies with Death Ward cast on them.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, we definitely sit down and just make a list of like how much worse can we make things every season.
Taking away headshots is
just
pretty
throw
bad.
that at our characters and then try and figure it out. That's sort of the things that I did. Like when I come to the room at the beginning of the season, we throw in these elements, and just see how they change the whole dynamic of the show. Because it is a problem when you can't mercy them.
Yeah.
That does make it a little more difficult.
Jeez, yeah.
I reject your mercy.
Well, yeah, when you get to the point where...
It's also the nature of evolution, just like, just as, viruses will evolve, the zombie virus evolves and adapts to a world in which, you do have a really large zombie scrum, rolling around the nation and getting bigger and bigger and bigger with zombies kind of eating themselves. And the next step is the zombie that can't be put down.
Man.
Did this happen?
Oh, it's terrifying. But yeah, it's something that, like I said, I don't think a lot of zombie media has covered, at least nothing I can think of immediately. In my mind, whenever like headshots don't work, it's because it's like sort of like a Thing scenario, like a John Carpenter's The Thing scenario. But
right.
Sadly, we are running short on time. Ladies, do you have any more questions for our guests before we wrap up for the evening?
No, that was a very dark note to end.
I believe the phrase we're looking for is "but why though."
How about this final question. What can fans, just in like a couple cryptic words, what can fans expect for the rest of this season?
More mystery, I think. More mystery and drama and crazy action.
Wonderful.
Totally.
Jinkies.
Wonderful.
But you got to hang in there to the end to find out what it's all about.
And then you'll pull another huge apocalyptic cliffhanger on us again.
Oh, no!
We're 4 for 4 so far.
Oh. Well, again, cannot say thank you guys so much for all of your hard work on this show and for taking the time to sit down and chat with us. It really means a lot. Where can people go if they want to keep up with you guys and all of your upcoming projects?
I'm on Facebook as Karl Schaefer and on Twitter as Unreal Karl.
And I am on Instagram as at TC Abram, and also on Twitter as at TC Abram.
Well, again, thank you guys so much again for all of your hard work. Cannot wait to see how this season wraps up.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, be sure to
you.
check out episode 2. It's great.
Cannot wait to get back onto this rickety roller coaster. It's going to be so much fun. All right. Thank you
Well,
so
we're
much.
tightening bolts where we can, but we can't get to all of it.
Fair enough.
That's what makes it fun.
Well, again, thank you
I
guys.
know, exactly. Otherwise, it'd be boring.
It would be boring.
All right, thank
It'd
you,
be boring
guys.
if it was just a
Thank
regular
you.
roller coaster.
Have a good one.
You
Take
too.
care. All right, real quick prediction round, because I think that's all we have time for. Really quick predictions.
I don't think 5K is dead.
You
I
think
think-
he's still alive, even
I
though there was
think-
a pile of meat bones?
Yeah, I think that desiccated corpse was the man.
Maybe.
I
Maybe.
did freeze
That's
and
fair.
zoom in on it, and there was definitely a vest, but I couldn't tell if there were 2 bodies. You're welcome for that. Forensic.
I freezed and zoomed on the pile
I did.
of dead
I
meat.
freezed and I zoomed in, and I was like, there could
Zoom
be
and
shit.
enhance.
Did
There
anybody
was
see the end of We're Back, a Dinosaur Story? I just hope that that's not what the murder of crows
Oh, God.
did.
Oh, my childhood trauma has returned. Thank you.
I think that's a fair assessment, though. I think he's still out there.
I think it would be crazy if, and I mentioned this today, and she didn't really believe me, Katie over here.
yeah, just point.
She's pointing in silence.
J'accuse.
Because the first episode is called Warren's Dream. What if the twist at the end of the 13 episodes is that she then wakes up?
This whole season is a dream?
She never had blonde hair. Well, in the
What
first...
soap opera is it where it's just the child staring into the snow globe?
Was that
That's
General
terrifying.
Hospital?
Was that General Hospital? I know that Dallas did. It was all a dream.
For an entire season.
Yeah.
Not for the whole show. But
No.
yeah.
I don't know if it means anything. I just want to point out that the very first dream sequence we see at the beginning of this episode, she still has her black hair, and then in every other flash, she has her bright blonde hair.
Yeah, she's
Well, I think for that dream
We-
sequence, that was how she thinks of herself.
we
And
had
then that's
somebody on
readjusted when
Twitter
she wakes
saying
up.
it was the
Interesting.
Daenerys Targaryen look.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. She
Yeah.
rocked it.
I will say that, like, the fact that she has Murphy DNA in her now because of the gunshot wound, I feel like whatever problem he's going to have later on down the line this season with his condition, that's going to be her problem, too.
Oh, absolutely. Murphy's problems are everyone's problems. That's the byline of this entire series.
New America, I'm gonna go with, this is just like every other quote-unquote safe haven that we've ever been to, where either it's not gonna be safe or it's safe, and then our heroes come in and it burns to the ground. I think the really interesting thing this season, before everybody gets back together, is Lucy and Addie. Like, that dynamic is gonna be very interesting to explore, particularly because Lucy bit Addie in order to keep her alive, and it created this interesting telepathic sort of abilities that they now have, this link that they share. But as we've seen before, anytime somebody gets bit by Murphy or Lucy, I mean, 10K is the one that's gotten off the best so far. But it usually doesn't end well.
Kettle were doing okay until our protagonist showed back up.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I think that just about does it for this week. Michelle, where can people go if they want to find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
I'm Katie Cullen. You can follow me all over the social medias and on Twitch and YouTube at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. Robots in Disguise is Tuesdays at 7. We are wrapping up our final season. Voltron Season 4 starts in 2 weeks. It's going to be Monday at 9. And Arrow's also coming back in a couple weeks. We've moved to Thursdays. Yay! It does that.
I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for The Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. Be sure to check out Season 2 of The Shadow Radio Recreation. And special shout out to Mike and Alicia on Twitter for tweeting along with the hashtag. You guys are great. We'll do our iTunes shout out next time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you all next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.